Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I really wanted to do a back to school advice slash everything I wish I knew before I started university or college. I think around this time of year, a lot of you are either getting ready to go back to school or you're about to start post-secondary for the first time. And I remember finding these type of videos very helpful when I was in grade 12 about to start university. I hope that this advice is useful. Even if it helps one person, I'll be really happy about it. If there's anything that I didn't get to in this video and you still have questions about, then feel free to leave a comment below. I'd be happy to answer your questions or make more videos like this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to keep making more videos like this. I have my notes here. I did make a few points on things that I really wanted to talk about or things that I personally found really helpful when I was about to start university. So for a little bit of background about myself, I did my undergrad at McMaster University in the Honors Life Sciences program, and then right after I finished my undergrad, I did my master's in biomedical engineering at the University of Toronto, and I graduated in 2023 November, so it hasn't even been a full year. Okay, so let's dive into the video. So first, I want to talk about picking your school slash major. I think that this is something that a lot of people struggle with. They don't know what they want to do, or they feel like whatever they pick is what they're stuck with for the rest of their life. That's not necessarily true. I feel like in high school, you need to take advantage of those opportunities that are available to you, see if you can shadow people in potential career fields that you want to go into. Always remember that you're picking an industry, not a job. I think that if you want to go into the medical field in some capacity, then see if you can shadow people, see if you can shadow someone in your doctor's office. I remember wanting to do the same thing, and I would apply to local hospitals nearby and see if they have a summer program available for students. I know Sick Kids always has a really good one. I think another really helpful tip is to look for people who are already in the school or doing the program that you think you want to do. See if you can schedule a time to have a call with them and get to know what it's like to be in that program, see what the course load is like, if they have co-op, if there's any placements. I think that's always something that's really helpful, getting hands-on experience. So see if those things are available and what their experience is like, ask them questions. I know upper years are always happy to help. See if you can reach out to them on LinkedIn or even social media. I know there's a lot of study grammars, study YouTubers. See if you can talk to them about their experiences. So I guess that this is more advice if you're still in high school. I would highly recommend keeping your options open. When you get a chance to start picking your electives, don't just tailor it towards one career path. Just because you don't know what else is out there. I feel like your life changes completely once you leave high school and go into post-secondary. So my main piece of advice is to make sure that you don't limit yourself in terms of what you're choosing in high school. Unless you 100% know, science is not for me or math is not for me, then obviously don't pick that. The way that you're taught courses in high school versus how you're taught them in university versus the career path that they lead to are completely different. So you want to make sure that you're not closing any doors that you might regret later on. And also, if you're still in high school, I would take advantage of in-person campus tours. If you go visit the school and then you find out about a different program or you find out about a certain student group that you want to be involved in a few months, I think that's really helpful. I remember going to visit McMaster when I was in grade 12, and I found out about the different groups that were available to science students. So I was able to look into those over the summer, and then I was able to get involved in them when the school year started. So it's really good to get exposure to what the campus life is like. So next, you want to make sure that you're getting involved. Say that you're a first year student and you hear about all these events that they have coming up on campus. You want to make sure that you're going to those. Don't just stay in your dorm room telling yourself that you don't know anyone here, so you don't know what you're going to do. I think that this is what a lot of people think. Technically, nobody knows anyone. You never know. Like, I met most of my really, really close friends by going to these events in first year, and I think that's something that I would highly recommend everyone to go to. You really don't know who you're going to meet there and where that can take you. I think that this is another thing that a lot of people don't want to do, and that's attending orientation. I know it's easier to just stay at home. I feel like it might be easier to just stay at home because you won't know people there yet or you don't know anyone in your program. I think that this is a big mistake. Make sure that you're attending orientation. pick events and sessions that you're interested in and not just what your high school friends want to go to. I think that during orientation, you meet a lot of people, you make a lot of connections, you get to learn a lot. And I feel like it's a lot of information in 1 week, but it's also a lot of fun. You're gonna see, you only experience this one time in your life, really, so you want to make sure that you're making the most out of it. You're already going to be paying tuition for this school, so take advantage of all the orientation events. Once you start the semester, see if there are any student associations or clubs that you can be a part of. I think that it's always a good idea to be involved in school. You don't just want to go to your classes and then come back home, do your homework, and then call it a day. Definitely be involved in some kind of extracurriculars on campus. You don't need to be doing everything all at once, but if there is something that you're really interested in, you like their event, you want to be a part of planning it, see when the signups roll around and definitely be a part of the group. By joining these, you get more opportunities as well, and you also get to be a part of planning an event. And I think it's always good to be a part of something on campus that's not related to your schoolwork. And also, when you join a club or an association on campus, you're going to be making friends who have similar interests to yours. And that being said, when you're making your friends in first year, not everyone is going to be an everything friend to you. Some people will be fun to study with, some people will be fun to go out with, some people might be both, but you really can't expect everyone to be everything, and that's okay. Make sure that you're getting involved in campus, taking advantage of those opportunities. You're not just going to class and then coming back home and then just hiding in your room for the rest of the day. Make sure that you're being involved on campus. You also want to look back on your school year, and you're not going to remember all those late nights that you spent studying in your room. So next up is academics. So I think that this is a very tricky one, and it's not really something that you can go find a video on and just figure out your study method for the rest of your university experience. I would highly recommend figuring out your study method in your first semester, but just remember that you're going to be studying differently than you did in high school. So it's not going to be like high school where you can just review in the morning before your test and then go in and get an A. You're actually going to have to put in the work and start studying in advance. I think that it's really easy to get into the habit of cramming right before an exam. I did that myself and I 100% regret it. I remember it being very stressful. Yeah, if I could go back, then I would make sure that I was looking ahead, planning ahead. I'm keeping on top of my notes so that I'm not scrambling the week before the exam, trying to watch all the lectures. And you won't be using the same study techniques for all of your classes. Figure out what works, see what your professor recommends. For some classes, you might be able to do practice tests, and that's just what's going to work best for you. For other classes, you're going to have to review the lecture notes or go through the questions that your professor gives you. I think it really depends on the class, and you really don't know until you get there. So just be open to trying different things. And also, it's your first semester, so don't be too hard on yourself. It is a little bit of a learning curve. So just remember that when you're getting your grades back in first semester and see where you can improve on. I would also take advantage of free resources online, such as Khan Academy videos. I remember watching a lot of them for my first year science courses. I think that they're really helpful. There's also YouTube videos available online. There are online courses that are free for students. Also, be prepared for a much heavier course load. So I know that you do get a heavier course load in grade 12, but I think that in university, you're going to be doing so much more work. And I don't think that's something that anyone prepares you for, the workload. And also it feels like a never-ending pile of work in the beginning, but then you'll figure out there are some things that have to get done, and then there's other things that are just optional. So don't try to do everything. See what needs to be done first and then move on to your other courses. So for me, I took 5 courses per semester. And you just want to make sure that that's something that you're kind of keeping in mind when you're studying. And some courses would require more work depending on your strengths and weaknesses. Speaking of workload, so you're going to have people who tell you that they finished all their work in 20 minutes, whereas it might take you 2 hours. Don't listen to those and don't let that bring you down. You really don't know what kind of experiences they've had or what they were taught in high school. I think that everyone's experience in first year is different, and where you start out isn't where you end up. So if it's taking you a little bit longer, that's okay. I remember it took me really long to do my chemistry work in first year, especially the lab components, and people around me were just like finishing it really quickly, or they would say that it only took them 10 minutes or they did it on the way there. And it does get you down in the beginning, but yeah, just remember where you start isn't where you end up, and it's only for a semester. So everyone's on their own path. So you don't really want to compare yourself to how long it's taking other people to finish their work. And also depending on what you want to do next after you finish college or university, you might not need that course. For example, myself, to do my master's in biomedical engineering, I didn't need chemistry. So I just took what was required. I took organic chemistry later on, but I just didn't need it for grad school, and I haven't looked at any chemistry since. Okay, so if there's something else that I could recommend here is trying something new. So if you get a chance to take electives and you're seeing courses that interest you versus what people are telling you is easy, I would highly recommend going with what interests you, because you're going to be more inclined to spend the time to study it or attend those lectures. I would also say that it's more important to really enjoy what you're studying. I know you're not going to enjoy every single thing, but if you get a chance to pick electives, you want to pick things that you're actually interested in. For myself, I was really into astronomy, and I remember in my third year, I think it was, a course became available and it fit in my schedule, so I took astronomy, and it was a really fun class. I would have never done it if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone for that. So one more thing I want to say about academics is, if you know the type of person that you are, if you know that you're not a morning person, then don't pick those 8 a.m. lectures unless you absolutely need to, because chances are you're gonna either not go to those, or you're gonna go to those and then just not be fully present in the moment. So you want to get the most out of your education here. So be honest with yourself when it comes to picking a schedule. I know sometimes you don't get the chance to pick. And also, depending on the program that you're doing, don't try to cram everything into a few days just to get 1 or 2 days off. That's really not worth it. It's better to have a more spread out schedule, that your lectures, labs, and tutorials are all spread out and you have more time in between to get your work done. You don't want to have a super packed day, because it's going to be a lot of information coming at you. Even if you do manage to get a day or two off, you're going to be spending that time just recovering from what you just went through the past 3 days. And I would say that's not worth it. For the next part, I want to talk about networking. I think that this is something that I really wish I did earlier on, and I didn't really start doing it towards the end of my undergrad, but I made sure to do this throughout my master's. And that's talking to people, putting yourself out there, introducing yourself to others, connecting with people on LinkedIn. I would highly recommend making a LinkedIn earlier on. I know that LinkedIn can be a little bit daunting, especially as a new student. You might not have as much experience as other people do that you will be connecting with, but I think that this is a really great place to get started. So I would recommend finding alumni from your program, and you can either talk to them about what they're doing now or what they wish that they knew back then. I think that finding alumni in your program is always a good idea. You can always connect with them. They might be coming out to an event at your school, or they might be giving a guest lecture. I know it's daunting to go up to someone after they give a lecture, and it's something that I never did, but it's something that I wish I did. So that's why I'm telling you guys to go ahead and do that. Also, for networking, I would recommend attending career and volunteer fairs. You're obviously not looking for a full-time job just yet, but it does help to volunteer at places, see if places are taking on students, even part-time. I think it's really good to get hands-on experience in your field. This will help you realize what jobs you want to do later on. I think that it's really good to go find these opportunities and make sure that you're taking advantage of any career or volunteer fairs that come to your school. I think that the best experiences that you'll have are hands-on experiences, and it's through meeting people, working at places, or volunteering at places. I would highly recommend this to all students, no matter what you're in. I think this is always good advice. I actually volunteered at an aviary in Hamilton because of someone I met through one of these, and I think that has to be one of my favorite experiences ever. So yeah, you really never know where one conversation could get you. Since we're talking about networking, I would also say take advantage of any free resources your school offers. So if they are doing any resume editing or cover letter editing, or even if they're helping you with interview prep, I would 100% recommend taking that. Your resume probably doesn't have too many things on it yet, but it's always good to see what employers are looking for. It's always good to have a resume formatted and ready to go. Also, after you finish the school year, you might be looking for a summer job, and I think the worst time to be scrambling to put a resume together is during final season. That's when you want to have as less on your plate as possible outside of your schoolwork, because it does take time, and you want a professional to look at your resume and let you know if you're using the right keywords, if you're using the right formatting. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is thinking ahead. You want to make sure that you're picking the courses or getting the experiences that will help you later on. For example, if you want to do grad school, some programs require you to have a certain number of volunteer hours in the field. So make sure that you're thinking about this earlier on. You don't want to be waiting until your final year or the summer before your final year to be applying to places. By thinking ahead, you can actually get these experiences earlier on and you can work your way up in the field. And I think that's always really good experience to have. Also, during the summers, if you're not doing classes, I think it's always good to get an internship or a summer position of some sort. I think that these experiences really help you learn those skills that you won't necessarily be getting in the classroom. I think that another thing that a lot of people don't do in first year is they don't know where help is. You want to make sure that once you get to university, you're noting down where your academic advising is. You want to know where your faculty office is located. Should you need help, then you'll just be able to pull up their phone number, pull up their contact information, and reach out to them. It's really good to be in contact with these people. They're there to help you. They'll also be telling you things that aren't necessarily available online about your program. So their job is to give you advice when you're in these type of situations where you don't really know what's going on with your courses or what to expect after graduation. They can also refer you to other people, which is always very helpful. Another thing is using an agenda to stay organized. I think that there are so many deadlines, there's so many dates to remember, especially in your first year of university. And I think that this is something that I really found helpful. So this is my agenda right now, and I've always had one throughout high school, throughout university, my master's. I use it to keep track of school, work, if I'm going out with my friends, I'll even put that down, appointments. It's always really good to sit down and see what's coming up so that you're able to plan your week or your month accordingly. I think that's a really good practice to have. I know a lot of people use digital planners as well. There's really good templates online. Notion has really good templates, and I think that's really helpful, especially as a student. You have so much going on. The last thing that you want to do is keep track of everything just in your mind. So always plan ahead. Before you know it, those 4 months in the semester will fly by, and you're gonna have to study for your finals and then move on to your next semester. So just make sure that you're planning ahead, staying on top of your due dates and deadlines, and use an agenda, use some kind of planner. That's what I would recommend. So a lot of people, until they get to university or college, they won't even have a credit card or a debit card, or they won't know how to use it if they already have one. So see if you can talk to someone at the bank. They'll teach you how to use your credit card, your debit card, keep track of your finances. They'll open student accounts for you. I think it's really good to start building your credit earlier on, keeping track of your finances. You just feel more put together. Also, on the topic of finances, take the time to learn about grants, loans, and scholarships. I think schools offer a lot of money to their students, and a lot of students don't even know about these things, so they don't end up applying for it. I would just encourage you to apply to anything that you're eligible for, and usually it's an application of some sort, or it might be a scholarship that's recommended to someone who's studying the same program as you, so definitely apply to that. So next up, I want to talk about things that you need to have. So things that you need to have or buy. And I think that it's really easy to watch those back to school hauls and then go out and buy all the school supplies in the world. You're gonna find that if you're moving away, especially, your dorm room is gonna be very, very, very small. So make sure that you're not buying too many of anything. So I used to be a pen and paper type of note taker, and then once I got to university, I actually started becoming a digital note taker, and I had bought so many school supplies I had bought so many of those colored markers and pens that I didn't end up using. So just make sure that you're not buying too much of anything, and that's something that that's something I regret doing. Also, don't buy your textbooks. I think it's so tempting that once you get your course outline or your syllabus, it's so tempting to go out and just buy everything so you have it already and get that out of the way with. Just wait until the first week of classes. I would recommend waiting until your classes start, and if your professor says that you need the textbook, then go out and see what your options are with buying it. Sometimes they'll be the one that wrote the book and they'll want you to buy it, so you have no choice there. I would also encourage talking to upper years. I know when I was in my first year, my friend's sister actually did the same program as us, and she told us which textbooks to buy, which ones not to, and I think that was really helpful. I know that a lot of schools have those group pages where people will be selling their textbook. That's something that I wish I did. Next up, I want to talk about balance. And I think that this can be applied in many different ways. So first of all, I think that everyone, before they go off to university or college, they should learn how to cook a few simple, easy meals for themselves. For myself, in my first year, I lived in apartment style. So my dorm was an apartment style building, and we had a kitchen. So I would make myself meals here and there when I could. So you want to make sure that you know how to make a few simple things for breakfast, lunch, or dinner that you can just take on the go with you. Also, it's really easy to get caught up with eating instant noodles. Make sure that you're just not making unhealthy food choices is what I would say, and that's something that I wish I did. I remember in my first year I would just get so caught up with my schoolwork that I was kind of neglecting my health a little bit when it came to the type of things that I was eating. Always remember that food is energy. You want to make sure that you're feeding yourself something healthy, something nutritious. See what works for you. I think that no two people's diets are the same, so see what works for you there. Also, you want to keep in mind that your day is not going to be the typical 8 to 3 day or whatever it was in high school. You're going to have a lot more free time throughout your classes. You might have classes 8 to 10 and then have a huge break between 10 to 2. So you want to make sure that you're planning your days accordingly. You might have night classes. You're going to want to make sure that you eat beforehand or you're getting your work done beforehand, because if a night class is 7 to 10 p.m., realistically, you're not going to go home and do work right after 10. Sometimes you might. You might surprise yourself, but realistically speaking, you want to be honest with yourself and plan your days accordingly and make sure that you have that balance. Definitely prioritize movement where you can. This is something that I wish I did. I don't think I went to the gym until my second semester of first year. You want to make sure that you're prioritizing movement and taking those wellness breaks when you can. You don't need to be doing anything crazy in the gym. If the most that you can do is go for a 15-minute walk after your classes with your friends, try to make that a priority. It's really easy to neglect your health, especially when you have a heavy academic course load ahead of you. See if you can join a fitness class or find a movement that you really enjoy, and definitely do this with friends. I think it's easier when you have accountability partners. Try to set that into your schedule, and this is something I really wish I did. You'll realize that the healthier that you are as a person, the better you'll perform in school. I know Pilates and pickleball are trending right now, so pick whatever works for your lifestyle and try to have fun with it. Don't just see it as something that you have to do. It's something that you want to do. Also, you want to make sure that you're not neglecting your health. So I was a Don in my undergrad and I would live with students, and I think that this is also something that I saw happening where they would put aside their mental or physical health just because they had so much schoolwork to do, and it's so easy to let that pile up. Make sure that you're always talking to someone, whether it's your Don on your floor or someone in your building. You want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. There's always clinics on campus for students to visit and they'll be covered for you, so definitely take advantage of those resources if you need them. So a little bit about some other things that I haven't really touched on in this video. Be comfortable with failure and rejection. In high school, I feel like you're on the same path as your friends or your friend group. You might be all doing the same things. You might be on the same teams, on the same clubs. In university, you're going to be trying a lot of new things in the next few years. You're going to be taking different paths than all your friends, and not all of them will go the way that you want. And I think you should embrace that. If something doesn't go the way that you want it to go, it's because it wasn't meant for you. And also that means that something even better is coming your way. That's how I would see it. And I think that this advice can be applied for jobs, people, academics, and so on. I think that something better is always coming your way as long as you're putting in the work for it. The other thing is you should just be easy on yourself. If you're not getting those A's that you used to get in high school in the very beginning, don't be too hard on yourself. See if you can talk to someone, an academic advisor, or you can attend those tutoring sessions and see what help there is available to you. Or even visiting your professor's office hours. They're always happy to talk to people. I would say most importantly, remember to have fun. You made it this far, and I think that that's a huge accomplishment. Your undergrad is going to be a lot of fun times and memories that you're going to be cherishing forever. My friends and I, we still talk about all of our undergrad memories. I think university is supposed to be really fun. Don't get too caught up with your academics or trying to be the person that you thought you were going to be, or trying to be the person that someone else thought you were going to be. Try to have the best time ever. A lot of people say it's the best few years of your life, and I think that I can definitely see that. You also want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for your future as well. I hope that you guys found this really helpful, especially as you begin this next chapter of your life. I think that education is a privilege and we are so fortunate to be able to have it. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment or a question if there's something that I haven't covered or something that you have questions about. I'd be more than happy to answer it and help as many people as I can. I'll see you in the next one.